So, we are live. Welcome to the Future Self podcast. This podcast is something I could say that I have been in the works of creating for the last 5 years, but that's not entirely true. It's something that I've wanted to branch into quite recently. It's something that I would say started a few years ago because that's when I started my coaching company. That's when I started working towards helping more people, towards allowing more people to gain control over their lives, and just sharing a little bit more the ins and outs of, my experiences and my thought processes and systems. So, episode 1, I didn't want it to be anything too crazy. It's more going to just be an introduction to me, who I am, an introduction to the GL Way or GL Coaching, which is my coaching company, and then a little bit of an explanation on what this podcast is going to be about. I sat here when I first was going to record it and I was thinking, damn, what's a good intro I can do? What's a good way I can start the podcast out? And I think some of the best introductions are the ones where you just jump into it. You step into that discomfort a little bit. And I think some of the best conversations are the ones that are unscripted. They flow naturally. There's going to be those, bits where you stumble or you stutter or you make a point and it doesn't necessarily come across the way you want it to come across. But ultimately, I just thought, I want to jump into it. I just want to do it. I want to get episode 1 out and see what can happen and come from there. So I'll do a little bit of an introduction. My name's Guy Lawler. For some people, I'm known as GL, just my initials. For others, I'm the owner of the GL Way or GL Coaching, which is my coaching company I have down here on the South Coast. I'm a 21-year-old. I've been going to the gym for, I would love to say what feels like forever, but it doesn't because it goes so quick and it's something I absolutely love. But I think I've been going for 5 to 6 years now. I started when I was 16, right out of high school. It was something I did before what most of my mates were doing. I was looked at to be a little bit of the weird kid for going to the gym or taking my gym bag to school, but it's something I fell in love with. I loved everything about it, the training, the discomfort, the progression, the growth. It was just, I knew it was for me. I was a bit of a nerdy kid in school, you might say. I loved chemistry. I loved mathematics. I loved the sciences and the numbers. I was an okay English kid. I love to write. I can't spell. So for anyone who knows me, I can't spell for fucking shit. Disclaimer too, this podcast isn't just going to be PG friendly. It's a bit of my lingo and my language. I think it can make things a little bit more authentic. But yeah, so I had plans of being a doctor and all of that when I was a kid. When you're young, you want to be that doctor, you want to be a bit of the scientist or the paramedic. And, I held on to those dreams for a little bit. But when I found the gym, I knew it was for me. I knew personally it was for me within myself. I knew it was something I wanted to then turn into a job and have it be something that I essentially do for the rest of my life. So I left school when I was 16, halfway through one of my biggest competitions. Or 16 or 17, I'm not too sure actually. I think, maybe it was 17. Halfway through just a big competition I was doing, an IFBB bodybuilding show. I left school, went straight to TAFE, did my Cert 3 and 4. Got a job at a gym, absolutely fucking loved it, loved the culture, loved the ideas of business and progression and working with people and training. And I always liked school, but one thing I didn't like was spreading my knowledge over all these different subjects that I didn't think was necessary. I wanted to put all my time and energy into one subject or, a group of subjects, but just a small amount. But from school, got my certificate, started coaching, and have essentially just built things from there. So I was just a young kid who fell in love with the gym, and along the way have fell in love with gym, with business, with helping people gain control, with my own personal development, with seeing those around me raise up and level up and elevate, and just seeing the good in people in a way that they might not see it themselves. I get asked this question all the time. I don't always answer it necessarily straight on, not because I think it's vulnerable, but not everyone is capable or able to take the answer that I have. The question is, why do I do this? Why do I do coaching? Why do I go to the gym? Why am I starting a podcast? I have a big love for people, but the main reason I started all of this was as a young kid. When you're growing up, you're very innocent. Life's all cruisy. Everything's going amazing. And just, you're young. You don't know how the world works properly. When I was 12 years old, I lost my father to mental health. So I lost him to depression. And then after that, you shift a little bit of your innocence into a bit more, why me? Why did this have to happen? Why now? And just you start to ask all those questions. I think every young teenager growing up goes through a very similar system. Not everyone, but I think a lot. You go through the finding yourself, you go through the partying, you go through the not liking being on your own, to then wanting to be on your own, to just all those little things that, you naturally experience growing up when you're finding yourself and you're finding your footing. But essentially what grew from that was I felt out of control around that time. I didn't have a lot of control over how I felt, how my family felt. I didn't like how my family felt. I wanted to help. I wanted to control. And rather than using all that stored up energy and emotion for bad, I didn't go down the bad path of, the downhill, the spiral, the too in depth of why me and poor me, and into just something that could have become really negative. It was a very, very hard situation to see the positives in at the time, in a way that might sound a bit odd to some people now. I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful for it because I can see the silver lining in things now. I can see the good in bad situations. Not that every bad situation is supposed to be good, but I'm able to just see both sides and choose what experience I want to then experience based on being able to see both. But yeah, I'm grateful for it because I used that emotion and that energy and I turned it towards the good. It's allowed me to help hundreds of people, spark up hundreds of conversations, see more humans gain control than I thought I could impact myself. It's allowed me to meet some fucking amazing people, do some incredible things. I have a thriving business. I love helping people. I love the lifestyle I've set up. I love the drive that it's given me. So turning that major negative and big point in my life into good was something, like I said, it didn't come easy, but through all that hard work, it's essentially now stumbled me to where I am today, which is a very busy week. It's a week heavily revolving around work and helping other individuals and focusing on, allowing other individuals to gain back control. There's a balance, of course, of lifestyle, of my own training, of my own wants and my own dreams. I have a partner. I have some amazing close friends. I have a wonderful family, 2 sisters. I have a stepdad who's fucking amazing and my wonderful mother. But I'm in that phase now where I'm working really hard to set up my future and set up my future through a way of helping people and allowing 2 wonderful things to be the result of coming together. But yeah, so coming into this period in my life now, I'm beyond the point of fearing judgment. I'm beyond being scared to step into something new. I'm beyond being scared to trip over or tumble or stutter. I think if your intentions are pure, which I feel like my intentions in this are so pure. I'm not here to try and sell you a program. I'm not here to try and tell everyone how smart I am. I'm just here to express more of myself, give some insight into my thoughts and my feelings and opinions. It's allowing me to share a lot of the language and the thought processes that I've helped other people learn and see to potentially hundreds or thousands of more people. There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many people I can work with on a one-to-one. But if you listening to this podcast can spark up a conversation with a friend, or there's something you resonate with, or it gets you thinking or acting or doing something different from what you normally do, or understanding something a little bit differently from what you have, or feeling a little bit more in control in the sense that you're not on your own, you're not alone. Some experiences are very universal. Humans are very similar on so many different levels, but we just experience things differently. Then I feel like this podcast is a major success. I definitely have big dreams of where it could go or what it could be, but I'm not focused on it being perfect. I'm not focused on it being better than anyone else. I'm just focused on creating a community and trying to impact one extra person at a time. So on my Instagram, which is just Guy Lawler with an underscore at the end, I posted a story this week and I expressed that I was starting a podcast and what some people wanted to hear, or what were some of the topics that they'd like to listen. And naturally I want to talk about what I want to talk about, because I want to express things that are real. I don't want to just say things that people are going to agree with or necessarily just want to hear. I definitely am starting this whole thing just to talk more. But what a big topic was the question, well, what are you even going to do with it? Like, who are you going to chat to? Who are you going to interview? You're going to have to interview some pretty big people. Like, you're definitely going to have to get people on there who, care to actually listen. And I sat there and I was like, fuck, who could I interview and who could I question and who are some big names that could gain traction? And I started going into a bit of a thought rabbit hole of shit. Like, will this not work out because of the people I can gain access to? And I sat there for a moment and just thought, fuck, some of the most interesting, wonderful, amazing, incredible, and inspiring people I know are literally just the everyday person. The standard person. It's just not necessarily a big name. It's just the people I see on a regular basis. It's the people I have in my life. It's the people I work with on a one-to-one basis. It's some of my fucking amazing clients and their lifestyles and their incredible jobs that they do. It's some of the traumas I've heard people overcome. I work with people over the week who have been in big car accidents. I work with paramedics. I work with uni students studying. I work with nurses. I work with miners. I work with photographers. I work with so many different people. And I was like, fuck, I think relatability is really powerful. And I think there's nothing more relatable than an average person. And I say an average person as in a standard person, a person like you, a person like me, a person like the person you live next to, an average person in the sense of not an influencer or a celebrity or anything like that, because some of the stories they share to me over the week, I really relate to. And then a lot of my experiences growing up with, my father and then my self-development and my self-growth, they relate to as well. So I'm trying to create this podcast to be a bit of a channel and an episode of relatability. I want to just have a little bit of inspiration. I want to be able to just open myself up more in a way where I can reach more people that isn't just limited to the 24 hours in a day. I absolutely love my coaching business, and it takes a lot of my time. I'm up at 3:30. I start sessions at 4:15 with people. I finish at 6 p.m. I squeeze training in the middle of the day, text messaging, check-ins, social media posting, TikToks, Instagram, there's reels, programming. So I was thinking if I could do every Friday or every fortnight on a Friday, I could film an episode, I could edit it on a Friday night, I could upload it either over the weekend or sometime over the next week. That's definitely the plan. I would love to expand. I want to interview so many people. I want to open up these conversations, and I definitely want to listen. I don't want to be just the person talking. I don't want to tell people how to think. I don't want to have people think my ways or my views, and I don't want to aggressively push, this is me and you need to do the way I think and go about things. So I want to open up a conversation and ask a question and express my thoughts, but then also have an individual express their thoughts as well. I want to value other people's opinions and, thought processes. I want to dynamically come together. I want to work together. I don't want it to be a one-to-one. I do that in my coaching. I work 50-50. It's a very even coaching dynamic, which I think some of the most special approaches and ways I go about coaching, because we're even in it. We work together. The person knows themselves better than anyone else, and I know the space of progression and leveling up. I feel not better than anyone else, but maybe different to how they do. So when you bring that together, it allows a really cool change to happen. So essentially, I just wanted to start out this podcast. I wanted to introduce myself a little bit about my background. I have so many different thoughts and conversations that I do already want to chat about. I'm a big advocate of doing things for your future self, as to why the podcast is called Future Self. I think living for your future self is a very special way, because you're being kind to the version of you in the future, which is not the easiest thing to do. It can be quite easy to be selfish, look after your current version of you, do what's easy now. But living for the future you is about doing what's hard now to make it easier for the future version of yourself. It's about doing the work now so you can thrive in the future. Doing things for the future you is a way of showing the past you what you may have not felt or thought possible back then. It's a way of looking after the current you in what you do, but it's about doing what needs to be done now to allow that future self thrive. I have so many things I already want to express, the future you live in, the showing up for you, the doing the hard now so it's easier later, the lifestyle of routine, of gym, of training, mindset, all of those things. I have such a wide range of holistic conversations I want to have, and just overall, conversations about different things. I don't want to just pinpoint this podcast to be about mindset. I don't want to have it solely be just about me talking or me, myself. It'll definitely find its way. I know it will become more of its own self in time. I know it will become more of its own self in time, and it's definitely going to grow into something very special. But this first episode was just a bit of an intro to me into the podcast, why I'm doing it, the reasons behind it, what's going to come from it, and essentially just where I want it to go and why I'm doing it. So if you would like to subscribe to this channel, I would absolutely love that. Like I said, I'll be posting every week or potentially every fortnight. So if you do want to subscribe, you would see those videos. If you did like it, that would be a big, big help for me. I will post my coaching page down in the description. I'll also post my personal page too. If you have any questions, if you have any topics of conversation, any guests or anything you want to comment, any feedback, or even if you just want to open up a conversation, feel free to message me or leave it in the comments below. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to listen to it. I can't thank you enough for just the support that you're giving, even just viewing it, whether you subscribe, whether you like, whether you comment, whether you follow my social media, regardless of what you do. I appreciate you. I can't wait for episode 2, and I will see you in that one.